Hello, sir.
Come right on in, Mr. Evans. Today we're reviewing body systems. After this, I hope you understand why you failed your body systems test after this lesson. Probably you'll improve. Well, it's hard to get worse than a 67. The first body system we'll be discussing is the nervous system, one of the most important body systems. However, I want to start when your fellow classmate, Mr. Slack, arrives.
I'm not very nervous at all, sir. In fact, this has been a relatively carefree day.
I'm starting to get tired of your corny jokes, mister. For once, can you be serious? Your grade is at stake. At this rate, I'm not sure you can pull through.
I'll be fine, sir. Teach away.
Anyway, today we'll be learning about the nervous system.
Well, that's dumb. I've already said I'm not nervous at all.
This is exactly why you're failing my class. Anyway, the nervous system is probably the most important system of your body. It manages all of the other body systems and is the reason you're alive right now. It's made up of special cells called neurons.
No wonder all the people I know are morons. All their cells are basically made up of them.
Neurons, not morons. You've got to straighten up before I fail you right now.
Okay, man, calm down.
Also, only the cells in your nervous system are made of neurons. I hope that was you making a joke.
Sorry, I'm late. I was busy doing something else.
And what would that something else be more important than getting a passing grade on your body systems test, Mr. Slack? I see. Well, you didn't miss anything important, as your fellow classmate was distracting me for some time. Unfortunately, the field trip us three were going to have the tour of the nervous system was canceled. The bus had a nervous breakdown.
Ha ha. Well, start teaching about morons. That's why you're here, right?
Did you know that nerve signals can travel up to 180 miles an hour around your body?
Did you know if you take out all of the neurons in your body and laid them end to end, you would die?
So glad you finally learned some worthwhile information, Mr. Evans. Do you have anything to say? Any more not-so-fun facts?
No, science is lame.
Well, there is a disease called...
You're boring me so much I'd rather learn about morons.
Good. Listen, you two. The neuron is the most basic yet the most important part of the nervous system. The neuron is made up of the soma, the dendrites, and the axon. The soma of the cell is as you know, the nucleus.
Whoa. Hold up there a sec. What's a nucleus?
Mr. Evans, you're killing me. Do you remember what the brains of cells are called?
Oh, I know. Carry on then.
As I was saying, the nucleus mandates the cell's functions and contains the DNA. The axon is a long strand that stretches far from the soma and sends messages to the other neurons' dendrites through synapses located at their ends. Axons can even branch to multiple other neurons. However, there's only one axon on each neuron.
Sir, you forgot to explain what synapses and dendrites are.
I was about to get to that, Mr. Slack, but since it seems you're very knowledgeable about this subject, you explain.
Well, synapses are little buds that can transmit electricity or chemicals from neuron to neuron. These messages travel from motor or sensory neurons to the brain, where they can be recognized, translated, and then acted upon.
That's neato. What's the next thing I need to know?
Dendrites are basically axons, but unlike the axon, dendrites receive information rather than send it. They also are much smaller than an axon and cannot receive multiple messages.
You still haven't explained what motor and sensory neurons are yet, Mr. Slack.
Oh, motor and sensory neurons are specialized neurons that perform different functions than normal neurons. Motor neurons, when triggered, activate muscles or glands. Sensory neurons receive external signals through sensory organs, such as the skin or the nose, and transfer them to the brain. The structure of some motor neurons and sensory neurons differ from normal neurons. Some may have no dendrites, while others lack an axon.
Thank you, Mr. Slack. However, you forgot to mention mixed neurons.
Let me guess. Mixed nerves can perform the functions of motor neurons and sensory neurons.
Right you are, Mr. Evans. It's good to know that you're picking up on this.
Nah, context clues did more than studying ever did.
Let's move on to the nerves. Nerves are the nervous system's equivalent of blood vessels. They are pathways made out of neurons that are able to send and receive messages to and from the brain at insanely fast speeds, as Mr. Slack previously noted. Anyway, let's move on to the spinal cord.
Wait, did you know that you have a huge system of nerves in your gut? Not only does it regulate your digestive system, but it also influences your mood. It's so large, it's sometimes called a second brain.
Well, did you know you have a second brain in your butt? It's called a
Mr. Evans, enough. If you're so smart, you can explain the spinal cord.
Isn't that just the backbone? Wait, no. It's the large nerve in your backbone that connects to your brain, right?
Well, yes, good job. The spinal cord is protected inside the backbone. It receives all of the sensory and motor information and is the center for coordinating reflexes, such as stimulus. In short, it's the highway information for your body.
Mr.
Go ahead, Mr. Slack.
Did you know that the area where the spinal cord connects to the base of the brain, which is called the brainstem, is evolutionarily the oldest part of the brain? It controls life-supporting functions like breathing, blood circulation, and sleeping.
I meant, can you explain stimulus?
I guess I can do that. It's pretty easy to explain. Harmful stimulus, such as a hot stove on one's hand, activates sensory neurons closest to the stimulus. This creates an electrical impulse that is sent from one neuron to the next, up to the spinal cord. The spinal cord recognizes the signal and perceives it as danger. The spinal cord sends an electrical pulse back down to the area of the stimulus where it's sent to the motor neurons. These motor neurons send the signal to muscles to perform a certain action in order to move away from the stimulus.
Very impressive explanation, Mr. Evans. I may give you bonus points for that. Now on to the last part of the nervous system, the brain. The brain is the centralized control center of the entire body. It dictates how all other organs function and behave by generating muscle activity and controlling hormones. It is located inside the head and is protected by the skull. The brain is surrounded by CSF.
What's CSF?
Cerebrospinal fluid.
As I was saying, the CSF protects the brain and spinal cord from damage. It also removes waste from the brain and nourishes the brain with essential hormones. The brain
Is made up of 4 lobes. The frontal lobe controls thinking, emotion, and problem solving. The temporal lobe controls memory, linguistics, and facial recognition. The parietal lobe is in charge of perception, knowledge of numbers, and spelling. Finally, the occipital lobe controls vision, color identification, and
Yeah.
coding.
Yes, but I was about to say that the brain...
Is absent in sponges because they are the only animals without neurons, a nervous system. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, squids have large brains, just like us, as well as sharing many other similarities like a form of taste, a form of hearing, and eyes. And they are the smartest invertebrates. Also, on the subject of animals, interestingly enough, we share much of our nervous system with horses, including the ulnar nerve.
The brain...
Didn't you forget about the periphery nervous system?
Where'd you learn that, Mr. Evans?
I may have my eyes closed in class, but it's impossible to keep my ears closed.
By the way, did you know clams have eyes, and lots of them?
You're interrupting me, Mr. Slack. I was about to ask Mr. Evans here to explain what is the peripheral nervous system.
Isn't it just your 5 senses? Eyes, ears, mouth, nose, and skin?
Seems like your ears weren't that open. Those are sensory organs. The greatest tools in perceiving the world around you and making sure you don't die. The peripheral nervous system is just a name for the part of the nervous system that isn't the brain or the spinal cord, such as this area right here. The centralized nervous system is brain and the spinal cord.
I can't believe you had the nerve to trick a student like that.
If you've tricked me, I can trick you. Well, now that we've finished the nervous system, let's discuss its threats.
Getting hit in the head probably hurts.
The diseases that affect the nervous system, Mr. Evans. Don't be a smart aleck.
Well, I know about Lou Gehrig's disease. It occurs when the motor neurons that control your muscles die, making you slowly lose control of your appendages. Unfortunately, it's still not known how to prevent it.
Wouldn't that kill you? I mean, isn't the heart a muscle?
Fortunately, the heart is not affected.
I've heard about multiple sclerosis. What's that?
That's when the covering around nerve fibers in the brain degrade, and depending on the part of the brain where this occurs, it may result in a loss of speech, hearing, or even paralysis.
Wow, that's bad. Can it get any worse?
Actually, there's something called cerebrovascular accident, when a blood vessel in the brain bursts, depriving the brain of oxygen.
I remember one. A stroke.
A cerebrovascular accident is a stroke.
Oh. I've heard about meningitis, but what is it?
Meningitis is the inflammation of the brain. However, it can only be caused by multiple things, such as an infection or another disease.
I just noticed, none of these diseases have cures or definite causes.
Well, that's because the nervous system is so complex and mysterious. Diseases that occur in the brain are near impossible to cure right now.
Wow, that sucks.
It does, but let's not leave on a somber note. I'm giving you both 5 bonus points on the body systems retest because of your exemplary participation and knowledge during this session. Hopefully, though, you won't need it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye, and good luck, you two.
See ya.